Hey, good morning, everybody. Good morning. It's about 8:15 in the morning here. This is Friday, March 17th, 2023. I'm going to take a look at both Bitcoin and the S&P 500. I might take a look at a couple of other alts that I have been paying attention to and posting about here as well. So before I get into all this, as you know, this is not financial advice. I'm not your financial advisor. You're responsible for your own trades, managing your own risk, doing your own research, and I'm just giving my opinion on the market. Just a note to whoever is watching right now, I am going to be I'm going to be bookmarking all of the different assets I'm looking at. So if you're watching this after I've gone live, you're going to see the timestamps for the assets that I'm going to be analyzing here as soon as I get this done and the live has posted on YouTube. I'll edit the description and put the timestamps on there. But of course, before I get into this, it's not financial advice. I'm not your financial advisor. You're responsible for your own trades, managing your own risk, doing your own research, and I'm just giving my opinion on the market. So let's go ahead and move on into the chart. I'm taking a look here at the S&P 500 going into, again, back from January. So looking at the entirety of the bear market that we have been experiencing so far. This is starting to become more and more clear, the further that we get into it. So what it looks to me like we're in the middle of right now is, the completion of we've got a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, a nice wave down here to finish this move. We'll call this wave A, and then we're working on this ABC, which is, in my opinion, done. This is going to be your wave B, and then we're going to be going down into wave C. So what I'm really expecting to happen, and when this starts to form, you're going to see a lot of people talking about it, or maybe they're just going to ignore it and not say anything about it. But we have a left shoulder here, we have a head, and then we are in the beginning stages of a right shoulder. Now, again, as I always explain to all of my students, this is something that is very tricky to trade. And I'm going to talk about a head and shoulders here in just a moment when I take a look at Apple. But when you're looking at a head and shoulders, it's important not to get like too premature with it. Don't get super anxious that that you see this formation, and you're absolutely right. Because fact of the matter is, it's too early to tell. Most chart formations are only valid once they've been confirmed, and this is obviously nowhere near that. So, looking at the indicators on this 4-hour time frame, the 4-hour does look like it wants to move up a little bit more. But if you take a look at the red wave, the yellow wave, and the white wave here in this 4-hour, it looks very bearish at the moment, which is, that's good. We want to see that bearish move. And again, looking at the red wave, on this high right here, the red wave made a high. And on this move up here, the red wave made a lower high. And this is also good. That's some bearish divergence that we would want to see. And it's played out pretty well so far. This wave right here that we've got from this top down here to this bottom, that was about a 9% move. And now, of course, we're having a little bit of a rally. Now, what is this rally fueled by? Well, futures are going to be expiring today. Right? You have options expiration. The AM expiration is going to be here in about 1 hour and 10 minutes, 1 hour and 11 minutes, 9:30 a.m. You have the AM futures that are expiring. So there's a lot that's happening today in particular, and this affects both Bitcoin, cryptocurrencies, and the stock market. Because fact of the matter is, money rotates in a very similar way and in very similar sentiments. And I think that's important to point out. So for the S&P, this is really kind of what I'm expecting. We might get a retrace back here to about the 3,900 area. It might not go that low. Okay, so it may only go down to about 39 and a quarter, 39.25, 39.30. It may not get all the way down here to this level, but if it does, that's a great place to be buying for a move up into between 4,000 and 4,050, and that's on SPX. Now remember, futures, so the ESM series is higher because we're in contango with the underlying SPX index. So that is something to pay really close attention to, because as we get up into this area, expect this to be the completion of a wave 2, and then we're going to be seeing a more serious move to the downside. And this is kind of the setup that we've been looking for and been waiting for a few months now. And so now we're here. So be cautious for that. So what does that mean then for our good friend Bitcoin? Let me see if I can pull up the chart that I am paying close attention to here. All right, so looking at Bitcoin, yeah, I'll go ahead and use this chart, although this has a lot of stuff on it. So let me move out to like a 6 hour and clean this up. As I've mentioned many times in the past, I don't prepare a whole lot ahead of time. So this is the first time I pulled up this chart in a while now. So from the lows, right, from the lows down here, let's ignore the expanded flat alternative that I've got on here. So from the lows, you know, we've got a good buy that we had down here. That's why I've got this sort of outlined right here. Right there, you see we've got a buy signal mixed with a buy on the momentum. And that, of course, triggered a pretty serious move to the upside. And then up here we had, you know, we had some exhaustion, right? So we had basically a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right, going up here, and then we're moving down here. Now, the bigger question is this an A or a 1? My opinion is we're probably in a wave A that completed a wave B, and now we're working on a wave C. I see some significant resistance coming up. Now, we're, of course, at yearly highs right now. We broke the highs that we had back here, and this was just a couple days ago, and of course we've broken the highs back here. We had a little bit of support right here at this level, and I'll just go ahead and outline this right here for you in case you can't see it. Right here we've got a nice level of support that did confirm. So we had resistance here, we had some support here, we had resistance here, and now we've reclaimed that as support. So that's an important level for us right now. I wouldn't necessarily say that's a major demand zone like we had outlined right here, but we found some support here at this 50%, and now we're trying to move up here to our natural target, which is going to be at that negative 236, although I do expect it to go a little bit beyond that because we front ran this 618 pretty well. So that 618 was at 19,233. We only went down to about 19,600. So I would expect that we're either going to go and stop here at that negative 236, or we could be going to that negative 382. So let's go ahead and put that on the chart and see where that lies. And it just so happens it lies right there at about 29,000. That's right inside of this box that we've got up here. Once we get up to this box, I would be very cautious. I would be looking to de-risk a little bit, because when we do get up here, chances are pretty good the S&P 500 is also going to be hitting that area again at about 4,000 to 4,050 that I'm expecting there to be some resistance. So with that in mind, look at all of the confluence that we have here. We have a 150% here at the 28,000 area. We have a 1618, and that 1618, that's derived from this low right here to this high right here and pulling back to this area right here. The 1618 is right there. So if we do have an expanded flat, right, so let's just go ahead and make a little bit of an adjustment here, because when we're talking about an expanded flat, let me go ahead and clean that up there. When we have an expanded flat, what you would really expect to see, and this I'm going to make a little bit of an adjustment here just to continue to humor the expanded flat scenario, what we've got is a wave A, a wave B that goes beyond the beginning of wave A, and then wave C would go beyond where wave A ended. And we've already got signs of that. So if we've got wave 5 that's still in the making, we've got wave 3 here, and then we've got wave 4 here. Now, is it possible that wave 3 is here and we have a nice ABC, another expanded flat? I mean, that's possible. I just don't see how expanded flats are that common. I don't think that that's particularly what's going on right there. However, it is very possible to count a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 here. I would rather count that as an ABC to have a quick correction there. Nice and steep for wave 4, as we had sort of a shallow wave 2, a steep wave 4, and then we're working on going up here to wave 5. And if that stops right up here, it would make a whole lot of sense for us to do that. My opinion, we're in a little bit of a wave 4 on Bitcoin right now on this upward move, and then going up here to this area, I would expect there to be significant resistance. Again, I would be looking to de-risk up here in this red box, especially if it occurs around April 6th, because April 6th, let me see if I've got, let's see here, is it on this? the full moon, which is on April 6th, 2023. That's going to be right up here. We need to be paying attention to this. So again, 27,670 up here to 29,000. This area, and I'm going to be making a little bit of an adjustment to this, obviously, although we did get up here to this upside target that I had initially. It looks like we want to go a little bit higher. So again, watching that negative 382, watching this 100% extension, there are serious signs that we could be having significant resistance coming up ahead. And I'd be looking to de-risk up there, although the chart looks pretty healthy at the moment. What does Ethereum look like? So Ethereum, looking at this, again, we were talking about there being some distribution, reaccumulation in this box. I can extend this out, and of course, we went a little bit lower here, and we didn't violate, just to be clear, we didn't violate this level right here. So we had that level there. We had this level here. They didn't violate each other. So this is a valid 1, 2, 3, 4. And again, going up into that wave 5, this could take some time, right? So my count might be off here, just to be clear. I still see between 2,000 and 2,500 as a top for the year. We're only at about 1,750 right now. And I would still expect that to be a top, but I think that it's possible we could be finishing this move, right? So finishing a 5-wave structure to the upside. So that would be a completion of wave A, go down here into wave B, and then we go up here into wave C. Again, it's probably going to take some time, and this is rough, right? Obviously, this isn't occurring at the moment. If I go out to go down to a 4-hour, taking a look at the indicators, Bitcoin made a new high. Ethereum didn't do that. So that's also a sign that alts have some weakness. Bitcoin is going to be taking over just a little bit. Talking about Bitcoin taking over, right? I'm going to talk about Bitcoin dominance here in a moment. So for Ethereum, anywhere between 1850 and 1925, I would expect that to be more than likely where the top is going to be for this cycle. And then we go down for a little bit of a corrective move going into probably May, and then going into June, July, and the beginning of August. I would expect that to be your bull move, probably for Ethereum to go to that 2,000 to 2,500 target. But again, Bitcoin making new highs, altcoins, especially Ethereum, not making a new high. That is pretty interesting to me. So let's take a look at Bitcoin dominance. We've been talking about this. I have not touched this chart. I haven't touched this chart. I'm going to go ahead and make a change here. Let's go to a daily and just take a look at what we've been watching. Okay, we've been watching this for quite some time. And I was talking about it all the way back here, all the way down here when Bitcoin dominance was only at about 40 to 42%. And this is also when I started to get pretty bullish on alts. And this move right here was when we had a decent move on alts. And of course, we've had this move on Bitcoin, right, which also caused alts to go up as well a little bit. But Bitcoin did have that more significant move. But when we were right here, I was talking about probably going to get another move down to complete that wave 4. I was only off by about 4 or 5 days. So that happened. Now that that's been fixed, right, again, A, B, C, you can see that, right? We have a little bit of a zigzag here. Now we're looking to get that move up to this area up here, the top of the range, which again, in my opinion, is just the completion of wave 3, right? So we've got a 1, 2, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That completes wave 3. Go down here into wave 4, and then we go up into wave 5, which again, I'm looking for wave 5 to come up here and terminate at about 50%. And again, looking at this entire move right here, we go up here to this 50% area. What I want to point out is when we get up there, that's going to basically be like a new high if we get up there at all. We could stop at about 48.6, 48.7%. But when we get to that area, I would be looking to get into some alts, right? Because that's when I believe we're going to get a significant move to the downside. I don't know if we're going to make new lows. I don't know if we're going to go down below 40% on Bitcoin dominance. But one way or another, I would expect that this move will be finishing, and then altcoins are going to have a nice move. Now, again, time being a factor, this is probably going to move out. This is going to probably move out, which means this is probably going to move out going into the end of 2023. Altcoins could probably see a decent move. Okay, altcoins could have a decent move, and with that, Bitcoin, as long as it stays steady, will sort of fuel that move on altcoins. But if Bitcoin drops, altcoins are going to drop more, and this could just be a move where USD stablecoin dominance is going to be increasing. So let's look at that. USDT.D, Tether dominance. We've been watching this for a long time. I'm going to go to my log scale on this guy because this, again, goes back to what I was talking about, and I have a post on TradingView discussing this exact scenario, which is the bump and run reversal. This is when I got bullish on alts. We had basically a nice trend line, have some support here, good important support here. This happened to be where we flipped this resistance into support. Again, we had another area of support. So now that we've got this run where we had a trend line that had a higher trajectory as our mean, if you will. Now that we've got this, we're starting to see this move, right? So we had a little bit of a kind of like a crazy move over the last couple weeks with the, the issues with the bank in California, the Silicon Valley Bank. And so, but we're right back down to where we were. So things have sort of evened out, leveled out. And this looks to me like we've got basically a nice correction here. We've got a nice correction up, and then we're going to start another move down. If we get that move, if we get that continuation to the downside, that again will be bullish for both Bitcoin and alts. But at some point, alts are going to get another move to the upside. And if this is a formation that is going to play out, we're going to see Tether dominance more than likely come down here to this area, this level right here, which is going to be at about 3.75%. I don't know how long it's going to take. If it goes into the end of if it goes into the end of the year, if we go into December, we're going to see more than likely that move there, and then we're going to see a bounce going into the beginning of 2024 before we finally see what really everybody's wanting, that move into 2025, 2026, where we see Bitcoin go to those more significant highs that everybody's looking for. As long as the Federal Reserve continues to inject capital into the market, it's going to cause inflation to continue to rise. And if inflation continues to rise, Bitcoin, which is that asset that is, as they say, inflation resistant. I don't know that anything is inflation resistant, but there is definitely a fixed supply on Bitcoin, which is something that the US dollar is not, and most government currencies are not. So that's going to be something where it's the scarcity of Bitcoin is going to cause the value of Bitcoin to again increase over time, more than likely. So that's my thought on Tether dominance. So let's go ahead and move into, we were talking about head and shoulders. So I'm going to go ahead and move into Apple. I'm going to go to a 1 hour time frame. Taking a look at Apple here. So we have an inverted head and shoulders on Apple right now. And it hasn't confirmed. Now, when is this going to confirm? Well, we really need to break up through this level right here. And I would really like to see a move through 157, right? If we can close a daily above 157, well, then this inverted head and shoulders is going to confirm. So if it confirms, where is it going to go? Well, more than likely, let's go ahead and look at this, zoom out a little bit. If we confirm this, and we do see a little bit of a breakout here, right? So we're going to, if we see something like this happen, look for that pullback, and then we're going to see that move up here to roughly 168. That would be a great place to be short if you're not already. Because if we zoom out a little bit more, looking at this entire structure from the top, again, going all the way back into January of 2022, right? You've got a nice little 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 diagonal, and then go into a 2, and then a long 3, go into a wave 4, and then we go down here into the 5, right? We go down into wave 5, which is the A, and then we've got this B. We go down here to complete this wave down here, which would be C. And again, that wave C is, in my opinion, just the completion of a wave A. Okay, so wave A, and then we go up here into wave B, and then of course, if we do reject from there, we're going to see a significant move to the downside here. Let me go ahead and, well, okay, I'm going to keep that on there for right now. This is a time-based fib analysis where this is 1.5 times the duration of the correction right here, right? So we've got, I'm measuring this move here, and then I'm projecting from this area right here. So this is a time cycle that I'm kind of paying attention to very loosely. So again, looking for a move up here to this top trend line, and be cautious of a poke through, right? It could absolutely poke through here, cause a little bit of a trap, but a move to the downside, you know, given some time going into the end of the year or so, we could see Apple come all the way back down here to about 117, maybe all the way down to 113, depending on how long it takes. Okay, so if we take this and we measure from all the way up here, let's just say that this happens by April 4th, which again, that full moon is April 6th, April 7th, that general area. This could go all the way out. Let me change this to a 2 hour so we can get a time on here. Let me go up to a 4 hour. Okay, let's do this. What are our time cycles here? So if we have 1-to-1 parity, this would hit in September, the end of September 2023. So if that's the case, what we're going to see is that move down. If it takes longer, this 1.5 goes all the way down here into basically the beginning of December. So that's possible, right? This is a scenario which is absolutely, just hypothesis, right? This is only a projection based on the time that it took to complete this top to this bottom. And again, we're projecting it from this potential top, which hasn't happened yet, going down to this bottom here. But now, this is all dependent on us breaking out of this inverted head and shoulders pattern. It's very possible that it does. And so I'm just being very cautious here. I wouldn't flip bullish on Apple unless we broke through 157. I'm bullish above 157. I'm going to be bearish below 157, especially considering how close we are to 157. So if you're interested, there is a possible trade. There is a possible trade here, and it's a very well risk managed trade. So what that trade would be is taking a short on Apple, not using options, using AAPD, which is just a 1x bear token. It's the opposite of buying Apple, basically. So what that would basically be looking like is a short position, and we're basically looking at the price being roughly right here, and we're just talking about a move above 157, right? You're literally looking at like a 1% stop. That's at 157.38, a 1% stop, and just looking for a move down here to this general area, that's a 4% trade. Obviously, you could make more on options, but you could lose more on options. So that is something that you have to pay attention to. And if this does happen, well, it'd be very easy because you don't have to worry about decay. It's a 1x bear ETF. You don't have to worry about decay as much. You could just move your stop to break even and just let the trade go. Okay, that is a very, very valid strategy that you can take. Now, you would need to see that move come all the way down here before you decide to move that stop loss down a little bit. But that's a very valid trade. On the Wave Master, on the 1 hour, I mean, we've got, signs, especially looking at the momentum indicator, we've got signs that a top is forming here. So be very cautious for a fake out, right? Because all of these formations people are programmed to see, and very, very easily, they can fail because they are designed to get you to think something is going to happen, and then there's always the probability that they don't. What I can see here is that we do have a setup for an inverted head and shoulders, but it hasn't confirmed yet. And of course, if we break out of this and we get that good retest, well, then it's an easy long. It's an easy long, and you really didn't miss out on a whole lot. Again, stop loss on a break of that neckline, and you're going to be going up here to the target, which is going to be, it's a 7% trade going up to 168 from an entry at 156.68, right? So break 157, get that pullback to 157. If you have any indicators that you can use, look for a good buy signal on that. If you don't have any indicators to use, you can use mine. Just go to BitDoctor.org and you can find all the information for that. All right, I'm going to go ahead and end things here. I think we're pretty clear on what the market is going to do. Again, looking at the S&P, it looks to me like we've completed 5 waves down, and then we've got a nice correction here, which again, that correction looks to me like a little bit of an A, B, C, right? Still in the works, but watching that, and that's actually going to be on a lower degree because again, it looks to me like we are in the middle of, we'll have to wait and see, but possibly a 335 or a 333, whatever this ends up being, looks to me like we're going to be working on a wave 2. And depending on how high this goes, again, it could stop here at the 50. It could go all the way up to that 618. Whenever we get there, that's when you should be looking for the completion of the cycle. And again, when I say the cycle, I mean the completion of a wave 2. And if this is a wave 1 and this is a wave 2, be careful, because we're going to break 3,800 if this does play out. And where that lands, we'll have to wait and see. The target currently is about 37.19, but let's just wait and see what happens when we get there, and then watch the reaction. Watch the reaction, where we react from, and how it starts, because that's going to make the biggest determination on where we go from there. Are we going to go all the way down to 3,500, 3,200? 3,000? I don't know. We're just going to have to wait and see how this resolves before we make a determination on how bearish this is. When we get up here, more than likely, this is where Bitcoin is going to be topping out at that interesting level that I was talking about. Again, this is all going into the end of March, the beginning of April, and watch for that full moon, because that's going to be more than likely an area where we're going to have a significant top, because it has been a significant top. The full moon has been a significant top over and over and over again through the duration of 2022 and even 2023. All right, guys, if this video did help you in any way, shape, or form, you know the deal. Like, subscribe, share, and of course, wherever you're in the world, I hope you're having a good day, a good night, good evening. And if you need access to our Discord, if you need access to our trade ideas, both equity and options, if you need access to our indicators, the Discord, trade ideas, education, that's all on BitDoctor.org. And wherever you're in the world, have a good day, a good night, and a good evening. Take care, everybody.